Hey everybody, it's time for this week's Market Snapshot. What's happened in the Northern Virginia real estate market in the last 7 days in under 5 minutes. Here we go. All right, so it's been an interesting last couple weeks with what's been going on in the market. I know that this is coming out a couple days early, but I wanted you to have this information today so that you can go out into the weekend with it being July 4th weekend and take advantage of what's going on. So from a buyer's perspective, you're going to see that this is a very favorable weekend for you to be out there. If you're even thinking about buying a property in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you want to get out there this weekend because the market is very favorable for you right now. Sellers, if you need to sell your property and you get an offer this weekend, you need to take that offer, assuming it's an acceptable offer, and not try to hold out for more because we might be seeing a little bit of a change in the market here. And as we're starting to swing into at the end of the summer market, you may end up finding yourself holding a property longer than you expected, okay? So how am I coming up with this? Why am I saying all this? Well, let's dive into the numbers and show you exactly what's going on. Okay, so as always, this is a supply versus demand curve. And what we're using here is we're using lead data. Okay, this is not sold data. Sold data, as I've said many times, is oftentimes up to 75 days old. This is 7-day-old data so that we can see what's actually happening in the market right now. So this black line is the number of properties that have gone under contract in the last 7 days. And the teal line is the number of new properties that came on the market. So it's supply versus demand. You can see that demand since about June 1st has been slowly declining. It's a little bit sooner than what should have happened. Usually it waits until about July for that to happen. What I was thinking as this was happening is that it was being fed by the decline in inventory, because if there's not any inventory for the buyers to buy, then there's nothing to go under contract. And we had this gap here, so there was more demand than there was supply, so it looked like there were plenty of buyers out there for the properties that were coming on the market. But the last 2 weeks, we've seen that inventory has actually increased, but we've seen that demand has still decreased. Now, it could be because it's the 4th of July weekend coming up. It could be that people were traveling earlier. It could be, a lot of these things because we're coming into that transition. There's a lot of travel going on right now. But if we look at it, strictly from the data for the last 5 weeks with that buyer demand dropping and now with inventory going up, we could be seeing a slight shift in the market. Regardless of what we're going to see in 2 or 3 weeks, whether it stays more favorable to buyers. Because if you go down here, you can see that for the first time in a long time, supply is higher than demand, so we actually dipped into a little bit of a buyer's market. This does not mean that prices are coming down. This does not mean that house values are about to drop or that they are dropping. What it does mean is that if you're a buyer and you're thinking about buying, this is a great weekend to get out there and look at properties because you're going to be in a lot less competition and you will likely be the only offer on a property, or at least one of only a couple. And you're likely to be able to get your contingencies in place and even hopefully get an inspection contingency. We're seeing that percentage increase. I don't have those numbers yet for what this last week had, but last week over 40% of contracts had inspection contingencies. So we're starting to see it become a more even market, a more calm market with buyers being able to have more protections. And this week looks to even be a better opportunity for that. So buyers, again, if you're looking to purchase a property, you need to get out there this weekend. If you're in town, the reason it's going to be so favorable is because a lot of people are traveling. So you're going to have a lot less competition. Sellers, you need to be ready. You need to be realistic. If your property is not priced right, or if you have not prepared it appropriately, you might want to take steps to change one of those two things so that your condition does match the value, so that you can take advantage of one of these buyers that are out there in the market. All right, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to sit down with you as a buyer, walk through your individual goals of what you're looking for, help you come up with a financial plan to achieve your goals of getting that new property, and help you work with your lender to negotiate the best terms and the best interest rates for yourself. Sellers, we're happy to sit down with you guys. walk through the house with you, give you pointers on staging, give you pointers on what updates you may want to do that might increase your return on investment, and then give you a good idea about what your property might sell for. If you're interested in either one of those services as a buyer or a seller or both, reach out to us. Our number is 703-783-2143. And we will see you guys on next week's snapshot to see what the trend is doing and if this is a new shift in the market. All right, we'll see y'all next week.